Today, we're going to talk about how to do digital transformation right. This show is for everyone working at the coalface. Digital, business, marketing, social. This is At the Coalface with your host, Jason Greenwood. Hello everybody, I'm Jason Greenwood. Welcome to episode 55 of At the Coalface. Feels like absolutely forever since I've been in front of the camera. I've been very busy at work. We've actually shifted offices at Health Post where I work, and I've also just gotten back from the States. I've been there for 10 days at the Suite World Conference, the NetSuite Suite World Conference. And so I've been away, I've been busy, been doing lots of different things, but it doesn't mean that I haven't been thinking about you guys and haven't been thinking about content and what we want to do in the next few episodes of the series. So what I want to talk about, and this is probably going to end up being a 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7-part series, is about digital transformation and how the best ways to go about that, some of the gotchas, some of the caveats, some of the things you're going to want to watch out for if you want to be successful in digital transformation within your business. And I'm going to be speaking from a reasonable depth of experience on the subject. I've helped many companies, especially when I was working agency side, to transform their businesses from the inside out using digital technologies all across their entire commerce stack, both back office and front office, and integrating those systems all together to make for a holistic experience for the end customer from an omni-channel and multi-channel perspective. So that's really what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to transform the business internally and back office, make it a heck of a lot more efficient, automate as many things as possible, integrate as many systems as possible together, so that there's less double handling of data, less double entry of data, and also so that that data can be utilized across different functional areas of the business without any manual input or any manual work involved in the process. So I'm going to start by looking at it from a sort of a top view down and what you do in terms of first steps, and then I'm going to start looking at individual pieces of an omni-channel commerce stack, both back office and front office, and then starting to talk about those individual pieces, some of the gotchas that you're going to look for when you do search and select, which simply means you're going out there and you're trying to vet technology to decide which technology you want to implement, what the pros and cons are of those technologies, and the things that you're going to want to watch out for to make sure that they're going to talk nicely to each other. So, without further ado, let's get stuck straight into it. So, when you want to do a digital transformation project internally, you're looking at your back office and your front office systems. But you oftentimes, unless you are a startup, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with a baseline of systems. So whether that be you've got an existing ERP system, which simply stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, which is usually the core of your financials of your business, whether you have an accounting system like Xero or Mild that you're starting with, whether you're starting with a back office system that is an order management system or a warehouse management system or a CRM system, so customer relationship management platform. You're not starting from scratch, you're generally starting with something. So even if you're only starting purely with an e-commerce platform that maybe is integrated with Xero or something like that for your financials, which the orders flow into to manage your taxation and manage your general ledger and things like that. So when you go in, one of the first things that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to think about the systems that are already in place and how much investment you've put into those to date. And therefore that will kind of dictate how flexible you can be about replacing those systems, or whether you're going to need to wait a little bit longer to replace those systems to get some ROI and payback on the systems. If you just spent a whole lot of money on some systems, even if you realize at the end of it that they maybe aren't exactly what you wanted, if you put hundreds of thousands of dollars into them, then you're probably not going to want to rip them out straight away until you get some kind of return on investment and then roadmap out a very strategic play and a plan to get to where you ultimately want to be over a period of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So one of the first things you need to do is look at all of those systems. You need to document all those systems if you haven't already. You need to put together a bit of a diagram, even if it's a hand-drawn diagram. There's many diagramming tools that you can use out there to sort of draw a bit of a diagram. There's Lucid Charts, there's Draw, there's a whole bunch of other programs out there that can put together effectively a topology of where your systems sit, what they are, what they do, and how they talk to each other, and what data they're passing between each other. So just high level, you can even draw it on a whiteboard if necessary. just so you have a visual picture of all the systems you've got in play within your business. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do what's called stakeholder interviews. And all that simply means is you're going to go to each functional manager within your business typically, or each functional person if you've got a small team, and you're going to ask them what they do on a daily basis. And you're going to find out what systems they interact with. If it's multiple systems, you're going to document that. You're going to document the functions that they do. What are the things they do repetitively every single day? And if there are some things that take an inordinate amount of time, you're going to want to start documenting what those are to see if you can automate them through either a process change, a customization of an existing system, or by implementing a new system that will allow them to be more efficient with their day-to-day job. Now they're going to typically, if you're really open with them, they're going to be really open with you, and they're going to tell you the things that cause the most pain in their day in terms of what are the pain points, what are the things you spend time on that you do not want to spend time on, that you think are an absolute waste of your time, that you could be doing other things that add more value to the business than what you're doing in those menial tasks. What are some of those menial tasks you do repetitively over and over every single day that we can look to potentially automate, once again, through new processes, customizations to existing systems, or implementing new systems. So those are the first things you're going to do. You're going to go right around the whole of the business. And that's exactly what I did when I first started here at HealthPost. Literally within my first 2 weeks here, I went around and I sat with every single department manager, and I started to document their pain points. I started to document the areas where they were inefficient, the areas that they didn't enjoy, the areas that they even knew or thought or considered might require or would benefit from some level of automation and improvement and efficiencies being brought to their department. They'll tell you, if they've done their job any length of time at all, they will tell you the things that they would love to have automated. And that will be your first point of thinking about how can we transform our business digitally to automate certain things that are maybe manual. And one of the things that you'll need to focus on is particularly the areas that use a lot of paper. So if you're using paper in a lot of areas, then that is a good indication that that's a manual process, it's a manual system that should be automated and should be using technology to get away from paper. And it is possible to get to a virtually paperless office. Not every company can get there, but I tell you, in today's day and age, as of 2017, it's easier to get to a paperless office than ever before. So certainly look for paper, look for inefficiencies, look for pain points, start documenting those. Simply listen. Just watch what they do, sit beside them, watch through some of the main functions that they do in their job, watch them click around. They may not even realize where the inefficiency is, but I tell you, if you observe for long enough, you will spot it and you will see it. So typically as an external consultant, when I was working agency side, that was the first thing that we did. We would go in, we would do stakeholder interviews, we would watch people doing their specific jobs. We had a specific set of discovery questions that we would go through with them and ask them We would go through a process and we document each function within the business, what systems they touched, what data they needed to do their job, and what could make their job more efficient. So that was one of the first things we always did, and so that's what I would encourage you to do. Once you've done all of that, then you can, once again, you can start to diagram and lay out and document all of the standard processes in the business, all the way from customer service, from inwards goods, dispatch, outwards goods, all of the financials, all the finance parts of the business, the point of sale side of the business if they've got a retail store, if you've got a retail store. So you're going to start documenting all of those functions. You're going to start documenting who does what systems they do it in, and what those pain points are. Once you've done that, then you can start to look at how long have those systems been in place, how entrenched are those processes, how detailed and complex are those processes, and would they lend themselves in the short term to just simply making those processes a little bit more efficient by looking at them in a really critical light and seeing if you can optimize what you already have. That's the first step to digital transformation. Can we optimize what we have? If we can't, if the systems simply do not have the functionality to achieve what you want to achieve, that's your first cue. You're going to start needing to look external. You're going to start to need to start progressing down a search and select path and start to vet. You're going to start to need to demo, test new technologies, maybe even run a pilot program with some new technologies, and then find a best fit technology for you. Now, if you've watched me for any length of time, you'll know I'm a huge fan of SaaS. You'll know I'm a huge fan of web-based technologies that do not require you to host the technology internally or in your own data center and maintain it and upgrade it and secure it and everything else. So my recommendation is when you first start looking at new technologies, always look SaaS first. Look at technologies that you can access through a web browser that you don't have to maintain yourself, something that you can take on a subscription basis and can scale and grow as you grow. So those are my first set of tips around kicking off a journey of digital transformation. Because remember, a journey of digital transformation means you got no destination. You're going to be constantly being critical of what you do, how you do it, seeing how you can bring efficiencies to the business. And you're going to probably review that at least once a quarter, maybe every 6 months, maybe every 12 months, and you're going to really be critical of that. And if you're in charge of that digital transformation within your business, there's going to be some strong change management that you're going to need to undertake. You need to adopt. And you're also going to need to take everybody on a journey. So a lot of people will feel threatened even when you go and do stakeholder interviews. It's highly likely that the people that you're interviewing and you're doing discovery with are going to feel a little bit threatened, because they're going to think, man, if they automate all this stuff that I do currently, the stuff that I do manually and takes up a huge part of my week, they might be looking to replace me with a piece of technology. Now, what you want to do is you want to very early on put people at ease, because typically most businesses do not replace people with technology. It simply means they don't need to hire as many people. They can scale using technology without having to hire new people. So you can put people at ease by explaining that to them. Hey, look, we're trying to make things more efficient so you can enjoy your job more, you can be more efficient, you can get more done. We don't have to hire more people. And what that also means is that we can redeploy you from doing menial tasks to stuff that really adds value to the business and stuff that you enjoy. Wouldn't you rather be doing stuff that you enjoy instead of doing manual tasks? So if you can kind of have that dialogue really early with people and say, look, I am here to make your life better. I'm here to make your job easier. I'm here to make your working life a heck of a lot more fun, a lot more rewarding, and a lot more fulfilling. So if you have that discussion really early on with everybody you talk to, you're going to get a lot more buy-in. It's going to be a lot easier, and you're going to be a lot more successful. So hopefully these tips have been helpful for you. As I said, we're going to work down the chain of systems within the business in future episodes, but hopefully this gets you thinking in the right direction in the first place. Talk to you soon. Cheers.